So thank you everyone for being here today. It's an incredible honor to be with you. And before I start, I would like to acknowledge that we're on the traditional lands of the Haudenosaunee, the Métis, and most recently the territory of the Mississaugas of the New Credit First Nation. It's such a privilege to be with you here this morning. Just under a year ago, I witnessed the frustration of fans province-wide when tickets became available for the Tragically Hip's last tour. With the final concert of the tour taking place in my riding of Kingston and the Islands, also the Hip's hometown, I heard firsthand from many, many fans from across the province and in Kingston about how discouraging the ticket buying process was and how disappointing it was to see tickets that were literally snapped up in seconds and by unscrupulous means and then resold at exorbitant prices. That many of my constituents were unable to experience this moving final farewell inspired me to take action. By introducing a private member's bill that would tackle ticket bots and unfair selling practices, I was aiming to level the playing field and make ticket purchasing a more fair process for consumers in the province of Ontario. After introducing in the legislature last September Bill 22, the Ticket Speculation Amendment Act went on to pass the first two readings with unanimous support in the House. From there, the Minister of the Attorney General, Yasir Naqvi, saw an opportunity to adopt the spirit of the bill, Bill 22, into government legislation. Through our earliest meetings with numerous stakeholders, the completion of public consultations in Toronto and Kingston, and massive success on our online public survey, which was to the tune of 34,702 survey respondents, it has been an absolute thrill working with Minister Naqvi and his entire team to achieve the vision that I had laid out in Bill 22. Whether celebrating artists, theater, culture, or sports, I believe that everyone deserves a fair chance to attend the events that they are so passionate about. Today, I'm incredibly proud and excited to be here to announce a more fair process for Ontarians to access tickets to the events that they love. Without further ado, it is my grand pleasure to introduce Minister of the Attorney General, Yasir Naqvi.
Thanks, Sophie.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sophie, for that very kind introduction. I want to first acknowledge MPP Han Dong of Trinity Spadina, whose riding we're in, who's the home of the entertainment district here in City of Toronto, and home to many of the large venues where we see many sporting events and concerts take place. Rogers Centre right behind us, Air Canada Centre just across the street. So thank you, Han, for being here and for your advocacy for this. And I want to thank Sophie Kiwala for the work that she has done, as she outlined in her remarks on Bill 22, that really propelled the conversation that started when Tragically Hip Farewell Tour took place. Most of you are probably aware of the challenges that fans are up against when they go to buy tickets for a popular event. Between bots, lack of transparency, and unfair prices on resale sites, there is a pervasive sentiment that the system is rigged and it's not in the fans' favor. We have all heard about ticket or scalper bots, software designed to buy as many tickets as possible in seconds. Often this means that by the time any real fan is able to log on and search for tickets, the best seats are gone. Many events sell out completely in minutes, even seconds. And many of these tickets end up on resale sites for a huge markup, of course. Most of you will remember how this issue was all over the news last year during the Tragically Hip's farewell tour. But Ontarians had been dealing with an unfair ticket market long before then, and is still a problem today. Just this past Friday, U2 played here for their Joshua Tree anniversary tour right across the street at the Rogers Centre, in fact. Tickets on the floor, which originally sold for $70, were listed on resale sites for 3 or 4 times than the original price. That was not fair, and it's not right. And this is exactly the type of situation that we want to help prevent in the future. That's why this past winter we got people from across the province to tell us how we can help in this situation. And I can tell you, Ontarians did not disappoint. They responded in overwhelming numbers. In the first 24 hours that the survey was open, more than 16,000 people shared their opinions and experiences with us. 16,000 people within first 24 hours. And by the time the survey closed 2 weeks later, we had received an incredible 34,702 responses. I also had the opportunity to discuss this issue personally with major Canadian recording artists like the Arkells, who told me that they don't like the current system either. When tickets are sold at massive markups on resale sites, their fans are stuck paying inflated prices or not able to see their shows at all. So real fans are being priced out of the market, and the money is going to ticket resellers, not the artists who created the music, whose talent is gone into putting these concerts together. Through this process, there were a couple of takeaways that really stood out for me. One, the current system clearly is not working for fans. And two, Ontarians expect the government to take action. We proposed a range of options in the survey and saw overwhelming support for rules that would level the playing field for fans and give people more information about their tickets right up front. We have drawn on the lessons and we learned from fans and from consultations with artists, experts, and the entertainment industry, and we are ready to shake things up. Today, I'm pleased to announce a set of proposed changes that, if passed, would create tough new rules that would help protect consumers and puts fans first. The proposed changes would target 4 main areas. First, we plan to cap the resale markup of tickets at 50% above face value to put an end to unfair and excessive markups. Importantly, in addition to keeping tickets affordable, this will reduce the incentive to for people to buy tickets just to resell them at a higher price. Second, we are proposing to put a complete ban on scalper bots. That is, barring the software that is used to unfairly buy huge swaths of tickets before fans even get a chance. People who responded to the survey were almost unanimously in agreement that bots should be illegal, and I agree with them. If the proposed changes pass, it will be illegal to use bots, or sell tickets that were purchased using bots. Third, we want to make sure that fans have the information they need upfront when they're purchasing a ticket. We know that there is frustration about things like tickets being held back, hidden fees, or lack of transparency from ticket sellers. There is perceived unfairness in this industry. People feel like the system is rigged. We want to shine some much needed light on the ticket selling process. Fans want and deserve to know more. So if these new rules pass, primary ticket sellers will be required to disclose the actual number of tickets that will be available through the general on sale, as well as the total capacity of the venue. And all ticket sellers, whether they are in the primary or resale market, will be required to disclose the all-in price of a ticket upfront, no more hidden fees. Additionally, ticket resellers and online resale platforms will be required to disclose the original face value of the ticket and precise seat location, as well as the identity of a commercial reseller, so to people buying tickets. More information means people can make informed choices when they are spending their hard-earned money. Finally, our changes would help make sure that the rules are being followed as well. This will be a joint effort with my colleague, the Minister of Government and Consumer Services, Tracy McCharles, and her ministry. Through our proposed legislation, her ministry would gain new powers to ensure greater transparency for consumers when they buy a ticket. And what's more, we plan to provide a specific power for fans and businesses to sue when the law is broken. That, combined with new provincial offenses, increased fines, and administrative monetary penalties, we're giving consumers, the police and inspectors from the Ministry of Government and Consumer Services the tools they need to enforce these important rules. Throughout this process, we heard one consistent concern. People always ask, how can the government keep up with technology that changes overnight? My answer is simple. We develop rules that are technologically neutral. We are targeting the fraudulent and unfair behavior rather than specific methods and technologies that are being used. In the years to come, when technologies evolve and the next challenge emerges, these rules will be able to keep up. I intend to introduce a bill containing all of these changes when the House resumes in the fall. If passed, these rules would make Ontario a world leader in ticket sales regulation. And most importantly, they would give people a fair shot at getting tickets without having to pay unfair and unreasonable markups on resale sites. There is still a lot of work to be done, but I'm confident that our changes will make a real difference for people across Ontario. Once again, I want to thank MPP Kawala for her leadership and the work she did in the consultation process, in talking to fans, and assisting me in making sure that we come forward with a very comprehensive plan that will really give fans a fair shot and a level playing field when it comes to buying tickets for their favorite concert, for their favorite sporting event, whether it's taking place in Toronto, Ottawa, or any other community across the province. Thank you very much, and I look forward to answering your questions.
How do you propose to deal with people that
Sorry,
are...
I've got two people asking questions, so I'll go to Christy first, and then I'll come to you, sir. So we're saying that we're proposing that that bots be illegal. The use of bots, the selling of tickets that were purchased through bots, of facilitating the resale of tickets that were purchased through bots. As I mentioned, in the sphere of enforcement, of course, the police have the authority to investigate these matters, but we're also beefing up enforcement at the Ministry of Government and Consumer Services by way of inspectors. We're ensuring that there are penalties that could be put in place. But one of the things that we also heard from major ticket sellers who are engaged in this marketplace in a legitimate manner, like Ticketmaster, for example, that they employ a fair bit of technology in combating bots, and they're fairly successful. But they always have felt that there has not been sufficient resources available to them, or tools available to them to combat bots. And one of the things that we are proposing to do is to give fans and industry a right to sue those who use bots or facilitate the reselling of tickets through bots, so that we can ensure that the marketplace really is in favor of fans.
I didn't hear the first question, actually, but my question was around how you're going to enforce it. Are you honestly saying that you're going to tell consumers to go to small claims court, to do a small claims court action over a $200 amount? Why doesn't the government put somebody in jail or take sufficient action where a consumer doesn't have the onus on them to do that?
So enforcement is a big element, and in fact, what we're saying is that we really treat this as consumer protection, and that's why we are beefing up enforcement through the Ministry of Government and Consumer Services. We are making sure in the proposed law, as you will see, that we are creating new provincial offenses within the legislation, by which we can don't have to go to the courts as in small claims court, but through the consumer ministry, from a consumer protection perspective, we can deal with these issues. We are also introducing administrative monetary penalties. So, for example, if somebody charges more than 50% markup over a face value, then it's very easy to prove that that's against the law, and penalties can be imposed against them so they don't do that.
How do you deal with the offshore scammers, the people that are doing it from outside your jurisdiction, which is what's happening right now?
So, we're doing a very important thing, and that speaks to putting solutions in place that are technologically neutral. We are taking incentive away from reselling tickets by putting a cap on markups at 50%. We're really taking away the incentive for these bots to scoop up tickets and to then sell them in the marketplace at 3, 4, or at times 5 times more than the face value of the tickets. That alone, that important step alone, is going to make a significant difference in terms of the viability of these bots. The other thing we're doing is we know that the marketplace really in Ontario is about 80% or so marketplace is in the hands of few companies, like, for example, Ticketmaster is a big player, and they play by the rules, and we're making sure that they have a new right to sue and go against these companies, these bots, or those who may sell tickets from the bots, so that this practice puts to end. But in my view, by taking the incentive away, by taking that profit margins that people been using at an unreasonable limit, that alone will make a big difference, and will make sure that tickets are being sold at a primary site, which again we know would help the artists or the people who put the creative talent behind these shows or sporting events, where money should be going.
Well, really answer Sean's question. Yeah. What happens if it's done by people out of your jurisdiction?
Yeah, so we've seen these kind of rules have been put in place in other places like New York as well, and they've been fairly successful in shutting down a lot of bots. What we are doing is we are very focused in putting controls, of course, here in Ontario. So one of the things we're suggesting that you don't facilitate sale of tickets through resale of tickets through bots. So there is going to be an onus on companies right here in Ontario, not to monitor where those sources of those tickets are on resale sites, and not resell those tickets which are being scooped up through bots.
This is on the original seller.
What might jail time be? What might fines be?
Sorry?
Fines. What might the fines be, and what might the jail time be?
So we're proposing to put a progressive regime on fines, and then fines can go up as high as $25,000, and you can have jail sentence, again depending on whether you're dealing with an individual or a corporate entity, to multiple years.
We've actually had that similar legislation for 5 years now, and if I check for a ticket Montreal or Quebec City this summer to see Ed Sheeran, it's over $200 on StubHub. So what makes you think Ontario can stop that?
Yeah, so I think the very important step we are taking is putting a cap on markups, by making sure that we're saying that if you're going to resell your tickets, that it cannot be more than the resale price cannot be more than 50% of the face value of the ticket. Our transparency provisions are very important as well, because we're going to be requiring that on a ticket there is a face value of the ticket that is printed, and that becomes the base price, and that's the price everything is measured against. we are also going to require that face value of the ticket is all in price. I'm sure many of you have experienced this, as I have, and I have heard from others. You go on a site, you find the ticket that you that matches the seat that you want. It's affordable. There's a clock sort of ticking in the bottom, so you're under a bit of a crunch to get that ticket. But when you go to check out, you all of a sudden see that price has doubled, because now there's administrative charge, and there's some sort of a surcharge and a service fee and a delivery fee in place, and then you find yourself basically stuck, and you pay that. We're saying no longer. That will be allowed once these rules pass, that all the prices, with the exception of the sales tax, has to include all those other surcharges, so the consumer knows exactly what they're paying. And if they're on a resale site, then they know exactly what the face value on the ticket printed is, and they can only pay, or somebody can only charge no more than 50% on that market price.
So when the tickets go on sale on site, whatever, Ticketmaster, whatever, and it's 51% above or more above the original price, what happens? What am I supposed to do? Who's going to do what at that point? You would complain. You will file a complaint with Consumer Service Protection Ontario. There's an agency that protects consumers. They will have inspectors who will investigate and impose fines. And they will have, in the legislation, they will have the power to do so. Legislation also have some power to go to the internet service provider and shut down those websites that are illegally operating under the terms of what.
Well, you know, we are making the platforms that selling tickets responsible. We are saying that you have to follow the rule. You cannot just claim or pretend that just because it's somebody else putting it up, so we have no role or control. So in our rules, we are saying that any platform cannot knowingly resell price, allow for resale of tickets above what's required in the legislation, what would be required in the legislation, which is above 50%. So as a consumer, you know what the rule is, but also that platform, the service provider, has to have sufficient due diligence in place to make sure that products, the tickets that are being sold on their website, complies with the law.
What's the absolute earliest you would expect?
Sorry, I'll come to you, and then I'll come to you.
I'm sorry, what's the absolute earliest you would expect the legislation, assuming there are no hurdles, to come into effect?
Well, so I'm fully committed to tabling this legislation in the fall, in September, when the House comes back. I really obviously cannot predict when legislation will pass. That's up to the legislature. But this is an important issue. We have done a lot of work on this issue in terms of the consultations. We've heard very clearly from Ontarians that they want action from the government. So I will obviously urge all MPPs to look at passing this bill as soon as we can.
What's the penalty for scalpers, where the individuals who are scalping tickets outside of the events? What's the penalty for that?
Well, so again, what we're saying is that you can resell tickets, but your markup cannot be more than 50% on the face value of the ticket, and if you break that rule, then fines can be imposed on you, and we have proposing an administrative monetary penalty system for which you don't have to go to the courts to get a fine imposed. These are straightforward fines that could be imposed because the rule is very clear. You can very easily measure against. If the ticket price is $100 on the ticket, the face value, then the only thing you can charge is $150 plus the HST. And if you break that rule, for instance, there will be fines against them.
Minimum fine would be how much?
I'll get you the specific numbers, but it's progressive, and it sort of starts around $500 or so, and then it moves up.
Last question.
My question is, how can a site, it's going to be difficult for crews, but a site knowingly facilitates the scalping? If they specify they didn't know that there was this feature, will they be found responsible regardless if they knew or not?
Well, so it is actually quite easy, because first of all we see tickets getting bought up in seconds, and we know and everybody has told us again and again, they know when tickets are being automatically being bought by these bots, and they instantaneously appear back on resale website for prices way above than the original price. So again, I think you have to look at all these proposals in a combination of things. One is the caps on markup. That alone is a big incentive that we're taking away from profiteering from resale of tickets. And when we'll see that tickets are being picked up by, in one bulk purchase, for example, or in successive bulk purchases, it's easy to detect. And I can tell you, talking to big ticket sellers in the industry here in Ontario, they know this. They see this. They have back office functions that could easily detect exactly when tickets are being bought with bots. The other thing you have to also remember that this really challenge exists in small number of concerts or sporting events which are really high demand. They're very popular in high demand. Majority of the marketplace works very smoothly, and we have made sure that these rules really have hardly any impact on community theater that may be in a small town, or even in a big city like Toronto, or Ottawa, or not-for-profit groups that may be doing events, or even at a commercial level when you've got artists performing, and their fan base is keen in getting those tickets. When you start getting into big names and very high demand events, that's where you see the problem. And those who engage in the industry knows how that problem comes about. And what we are doing through these rules is we are putting the fans in the driver's seat. We're giving them sufficient information, and we're making sure that they've got a fair shot at buying tickets at a reasonable price.
That just doesn't seem like a deterrent to me. These people behind these scalper bots are raking cash. That's a problem we're talking about. It's worth the risk.
Well, so we'll get you the exact monetary scheme, because we've made sure that there's sufficient deterrence in place. I'm confident that Ontarians will like these solutions, because it really puts them in charge. And I can tell you, as a fan, if I ever see now tickets on a resale side, once this law is passed, that is above the 50% threshold, when I know exactly what the face value of the ticket is, I'm not going to pay a penny more. Why should I, when I know the law says that somebody cannot charge on a resale site more than 50%? Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good stuff.